Tara, welcome to Real Talk with Star Scorpio. How you doing today?
Good. Thank you for having me, Scorpio. Looking fly as always.
Yeah.
I like that. I got that Scorpio right there. In case you didn't know, he's right there.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, I tried to face it to the camera there.
Yeah, just a little bit, just in case they forget.
Yeah. Okay, Tara, let's start from the beginning. So first, I want to learn a little bit about you. So, we all know you were on Big Brother Canada season 9, but let me know, where were you born and raised first?
So I was born in LaSalle, Ontario. I was raised in LaSalle, Ontario. And I've lived all over Canada, but I came back to LaSalle, Ontario. So now I'm raising my kids here too.
And then let the people know that don't know where LaSalle is if they want some geography.
So if you want some geography, LaSalle is the most southern point of Ontario. It's one of the most southern communities. The closest city would be Windsor, and we're also on the border of Detroit. So it's a southern point of Canada. It gets very hot here in the summertime. It's very humid.
Oh, wow.
It does. It gets so hot here in the summertime.
Yeah. Okay. And your high school experience, how was that for you? Do you remember it?
Oh my God, yes. I loved high school. I was a little bit of a rebel in high school though.
Okay. Explain.
I wasn't too bad, but I was a little bit of a rebel. I always got good grades, but I like to go out.
Yeah.
I may have underage went to bars on my spare. People don't know. I was a little bit of a wild child, so it's quite the life turn now.
Wait, do you have siblings though?
Yes, I have 3 older brothers.
Yeah. Wait, so you were a wild child, but weren't they protective of you?
Oh my God, yes, but I was sneaky. They know all my stories now, but
yeah. Some of my guests I asked, how was it with your parents growing up? Were they positive when it came to school and your aspirations? Can you just touch on that too?
Yes, of course. I'm very close with my parents. I love my parents. Wonderful, wonderful people. Very positive. Both very entrepreneurial. What would the word be? Like entrepreneurialistic? Is that even a word? Did I just make that up?
It can be.
We'll make that up. But they both, they had my oldest brother when they were young. They were only 16 years old. They were like high school sweetheart. They've been together for years and they literally came from kind of nothing, right? Mm-hmm. And they just built this beautiful life, and they were always grinders, and they always went after their dreams and always continued to learn and grow and do things. So they were great positive influences in my life for sure.
Yeah. Okay. Because, a little later, I want to touch on that. Because you exude that confidence and that personality, and I want to know where it comes from. And some of your posts on Instagram, they inspire me to always do better, but we'll get into that a little later.
Yeah, of course.
Now, before we talk about Big Brother, I just want to ask a few questions about Big Brother because I'm a Big Brother fan.
Me too.
Yeah. But what was life for you before Big Brother? What were you doing?
Life before Big Brother. So it's funny how things just come into your life at the right time. So life before Big Brother, I'm a mom of 2. My son is going to be 9 this summer. My daughter just turned 5. And any of the moms that might be watching your show, they know that feeling when your kids are little and life is just kind of on repeat. Every day feels like Groundhog Day. Yeah. And I was getting to this point even before I applied to the show where I wanted to start making some changes. I felt like I needed to bring some spark back into my life. Sometimes in motherhood, you can lose that, well, who am I? I've been taking care of these kids and doing the same thing over and over again. So before Big Brother, I was really on this journey of just health, wellness, personal growth, trying to find the dreams inside myself again. So Big Brother absolutely unlocked a portal, and now everybody's going to have to watch out. Sorry. Blame Big Brother. Sorry.
So what was that process like? What really clicked with you? Because did you talk to your husband? Because you had to be away. So I first want to know what that day was like when you applied, because I guess you have to apply online or something and send in a tape maybe, or I'm saying tape. I'm old.
That's okay. We're old. I remember VHS. I remember we used to have to rewind before you send it back to Blockbuster.
Yeah.
Be kind. Please rewind. Our kids will never even know what that means. that mean?
Oh, you just brought something back to me.
Right?
Yeah.
No, my husband is, he's great. And he is like, he's one of the most amazing people. He just loves me unconditionally and he loves me for me.
Mm-hmm.
And he knows that I have this like really outgoing personality and I kind of fly by the seat of my pants. And I think he knew too that I was in a place where I was feeling a little discontent. So he was on board. He also loves the show. And he's like, yeah, if you get on this show, I will make it work. Like, go after it.
Oh, sweet, sweet.
Yeah.
But now, how did you mentally prepare for being away from him and the kids? And then how did the kids feel about it?
So it's, you don't know for a long time, like the process of like when you apply and getting on the show, it's crazy and you never really know. But I had always put it in the back of my mind, okay, what if I do get on? And we like buckled down like crazy. I kind of became a little bit of a hermit, me and my husband. We didn't drink for over 3 months. We didn't go out. I literally just like worked out, read personal development, like snuggled my babies.
Yeah.
Like we just stayed in and we really kind of like got back to just being us to kind of prepare, which I'm so glad that I did, because it's a shock to the system.
Yeah, but it must have helped that it was like COVID time too. So
it was, yeah,
because we were on lockdown so many different times and we couldn't interact with people and stuff. So that
sure.
helped out.
It gave a really good excuse too.
Yeah.
To like not like everybody just thought I was like really COVID scared, but I was, and because you know if you get COVID you can't go on the show.
Yeah.
So I was in a little bit, but it was a good excuse to kind of just bunker down.
Mm-hmm. And then how was that experience now? So I don't know how it is because you weren't in front of Arissa. You know, I was talking to Tyshawn and you didn't meet Arissa like when you went into the house, right?
Very quickly.
Oh,
like
quickly.
When you watch that first episode, like when we walk out, that's when we see her for the very first time and like we're in.
Okay.
Yeah, there's
no interaction and
no, they just throw you right in.
Okay. And now, so we're talking about COVID time. So you had to go through all the testing and things like that. So what was that feeling like being in the house when you know everyone's tested now, everyone's safe? How was that feeling?
Oh, it was so good. You forget what it's like to like meet people for the first time and just give them a hug and not have to worry about something. You know, you can sit really close to somebody on a couch. You can share things. It just really reminded you what life was like before COVID and how nice it was.
Yeah. And did you click with anyone right away? Because I know you were close with Tina. So you probably remember everything, but I wish I interviewed you closer to when you exited the house. But now I'm trying to.
Oh, those memories are burned.
It's burned in there, right?
They're burned. Actually, I had a really good connection off the hop with Tyshawn, which always surprises people when I say that, because we didn't really work together in the house. And I initially I remember when we'd have to go in the diary rooms, especially at that first day, they would say like, if you could work with anybody, who would it be? And I would always say like, I want Ty to be my guy. Yeah. But he was so kind of like popular in the house and working with so many people that I knew strategically for a game point, it probably wouldn't make the most sense for me because he had closer allies.
Yeah.
But I had a really good personal relationship with him right off the hop. He's got a very deep side to him that a lot of people don't see. Like an old soul type.
Yeah.
So, and LaToya too, I connected early on with LaToya with her age. Obviously Kiefer and Tina too, I think because they were just a little bit older in the house. So more similar stages of life.
Yeah.
And some of the younger house guests, but I love our cast. Everybody was awesome.
Yeah, BB9 was great. Just on an aside, I haven't watched BB10 yet. My brother said it's good now, but I haven't been watching, so I can't ask you any questions about that. But you're watching it right now too?
Oh yes, and it's wild to watch it after being in the house, like looking at the house. Obviously, it looks different because they change everything, but. Yeah. It's wild. I'll just look at my husband and be like, I still can't believe that I did that. Yeah. And I feel like after going through something like that, you have so much more grace for the people inside the house. Like before, as a fan, like I would rip people to shreds and be like, this game move is terrible. And they're flying. And now you're like, oh no, they just need a hug. Yeah. Somebody needs to go check on them, make sure they're okay. Because it's a wild, I can't even explain.
I know.
It was way harder than I thought it would be. Way harder.
Wow. Yeah. Tyshawn was saying the same thing. you know, being a fan is one thing, but actually experiencing it, it's just like childbirth too.
Oh
You
yeah.
know, you can't, I don't know how that feels. Only women can experience that. And it's one of those things.
Yeah, or
But
even parenting though, like parenting, you know, when you're
parenting.
like, this is the dad, like for you, like this is the dad I'm gonna be, I'm never gonna do that. And then you come parent, you're like, oh yeah, go ahead, watch the screens, eat the stuff, I don't care. You just try to survive.
It's so true. It's so true.
Survival.
But okay, but going back to being a big fan, so you're a super fan like myself, I can say.
Yeah.
Right? So you watched BB America, right?
Oh yes, yeah.
But from season 1, because I only watched from season 2. I didn't watch season 1.
No, so I got into Big Brother when it came to Canada, and then once I got hooked on Canada, then I would watch the US season. So I haven't seen, I mean, BB US, what are they at, season 23 or something?
Yeah, they're
like
up
that?
there. Yeah.
I haven't seen a lot of the initial, like the first 15 years of them.
Okay.
I started watching, like once Big Brother Canada happened, then I started watching the US as well.
Wow, there were some good seasons with Janelle and Kaser. I don't know if you know those names, but there were oh wow, BB6. There were some good seasons. But I say all that to say, knowing what you know going in, how was it actually when you're in the house now? Does everything go out the door with all the, oh, I know what happens in this game, I know what I have to do here, and I know I have to make alliances? Does that all go out the door? Or is it organic now? Like, okay, let me just play this game the way it is.
I think it's a little bit of both. Like, obviously you go into the house with a plan. My plan, it did not, like I had a specific plan when I went in, like I wanted to have like a core alliance with somebody who was really like strong and athletic, somebody who I felt was really smart, keep it smaller. And I remember going in and being like, if I don't hear about alliances in the first couple of days, I'm not in them. And I didn't. So I knew. So then you have to really pivot and kind of be fluid. It's everything changes on a dime. You can't stick to one plan. So it's kind of like, I mean, have an idea, but get ready to just, you got to be able to like ebb and flow, because everything changes in the house, and you just always have to have your eyes open. Like people will say, especially at the beginning, you know, like, oh, you're a floater, you're this. And it's like floating, it's like you're a duck, right? You can call me a floater and I'm a duck on top. I look like I'm not doing much, but underneath you're always like, there's work, like you're trying to piece together, like, okay, who do I think's working together? How many votes do they have? Like, what's going on? Like, there's a lot of components to it.
Yeah, and one thing I want to know too, from more than one person. So, you know, I interviewed Tyshawn, and I heard what he said about trusting people when you're talking to someone. Because, like you said, when I'm watching it from home, I'm seeing the different conversations because the cameras, right? But when you talk to someone, can you tell when they're being genuine with you, or is there some underlying thing where like, nah, he's not, or she's not being honest with me?
No, it's very hard to tell when somebody's talking to you, but I actually had like a little sneaky strategy when I was trying to find out who I could trust. And this is honestly why I didn't end up working really with anyone. Because I would say something specific to one person, maybe about another person, and see if it came back to me.
Okay.
Do you know what I mean? And being very mindful of things like that. Like, what did I actually say? And how did it come back into my ears? And that was a good way to kind of find out if you could trust somebody, or to see who was close.
Yeah.
You know, like it was very easy. Like I would do that all the time with, especially with like Beth and Tyshawn. Like I love them, but like everything that I would say to Tyshawn about Beth came back to me, and vice versa. So I knew that they were obviously working closely together and had their best interests more than mine.
Right. Wow, that's smart.
Yeah, you gotta be a little sneaky.
You got to. So now with competitions, so outside of the house, like your life right now, you work out, you're in shape. Did that help you out for some of the physical competitions?
Yes and no. The competitions are so bizarre. Like there's no way you could ever prepare for any of them. Yeah. I was always hoping for one of those, like, you know, those endurance ones where you have to like hang on by a rope or like stand on a little, like I was like praying for one of those because I'm so small and I got these little feet. But no, there's no way to prepare. And No. Like, I
Wow.
remember there was one like POV where it was like a wheelbarrow and you had to like maneuver. I've never used a wheelbarrow in my life. I
Yeah.
didn't know how to steer it. Yeah. And so like, I would have never thought like, I'm going on Big Brother. I better pull out the old wheelbarrow
Yeah.
and make sure that I can, so you can
Yeah.
prepare enough, but it's kind
Mhm.
of a crapshoot. You don't know what you'll be good at.
Wow, that's crazy. So,
Mm.
okay, so what about food now? You seem like you're a healthy eater on the outside of the house. So, no, no.
I got a soft spot for Taco Bell, okay?
Okay,
I
but
do.
what was the
I
food
eat
like
well,
inside?
but the food I'm sure for everybody else was good. I was on slop for like 23 days or something.
Oh my gosh, I forgot.
Yeah, yeah.
Hmm.
I was on slop a lot. So that was fun. But the food is, they give you food. It's weird though. You're like I felt like when I was in that house, like I ate enough to survive.
Oh my gosh,
Because
yeah,
you're just so nervous. You never know what's gonna happen.
yeah.
It's a different environment.
Is Big Brother? I never asked this. Is Big Brother a weight loss show? You know when people go on Survivor, I've been watching that from day one, and when they come out, it's like they just drop weight, but it's food
Oh,
shortage. But what about Big Brother because all the mental and everything?
oh yes. I think when I left the house, I'm very tiny. Like,
Yeah.
especially when I meet people like, oh wow, you really are small. Like I'm only 5 foot tall.
Oh, you're
you
five
know,
foot.
no, like I've always been super, super petite and I lost 15 pounds. So
Wow.
when I came home, my husband was like, holy crap, like we got to feed
Okay.
you.
Yeah. Okay.
So and I do think if you're on slop a lot for sure, like I
Mhm.
know like Tina, Braden, Rohan, like we were the slop stars of the
Oh
season.
my gosh. Yeah.
Everybody lost so much weight. I always say I should come up with like a slop diet book.
Yeah.
You want to
Yeah.
drop some lbs quick, here you go.
How did that taste though?
It's terrible.
Oh my gosh.
It's what, it's not even that it tastes bad. There's like, I still don't know fully what's in it, but there's one ingredient that makes it gel.
Oh
So it's
wow.
a texture and
Yeah.
it takes like, you try and cook that jelly texture out of it and it takes hours and it's
Mhm.
gross. You
Mhm.
literally eat enough just to be like, okay, that's enough for me to survive for the day so I don't fall over because
Yeah.
it's not good.
You know, one thing, all the house guests. So one thing I always wondered because someone asked me, a couple of people asked me, hey, you should try for the show. But I get migraines. So if I don't sleep properly or eat
Mm-hmm.
properly, I'll get like a bad migraine. What about you or any of the cast members when it comes to that aspect? Anyone that gets those serious migraines or headaches or anything?
That's so crazy that you mentioned that because I got a migraine in the house and it was terrible.
Oh, wow.
It
Okay.
was, and it obviously wouldn't be shown on camera. I actually got it like late at night, like while everyone was sleeping, and it was, oh, it was brutal, especially so everything is really dark. But then if you go into like a bathroom or anything, like all the lights are really bright. And it's so funny. It doesn't matter how old you are, like whenever you're sick, like you just want your mom.
Yeah, yeah.
Like I just
So
remember
true.
being like, oh my God, I'm having such a hard time. I have this migraine. I don't feel comfortable. But they
Yeah.
take care of you, obviously,
Yeah.
in that, like, like they always make sure that you're safe and well. And their
Mhm.
production staff is amazing. They're some of the most wonderful, caring people. So they definitely helped me out, but it sucked. It was not enjoyable.
Wow. Sorry you have
Yeah.
to go through that.
Yeah.
There's one thing that works for me though. Like I've been getting migraines since I was 12, but when I take Excedrin migraine, I can only
Yeah.
get it in the States.
Yes, I know
That's
about Excedrin. It's got the caffeine in it.
yeah,
They're so good.
it takes it away. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Now what about cameras? So one thing I was always wondering is if a camera's on me all the time, is one day will I just, it'll be normal now. So I get into this routine and I forget it's there and I say certain things that I'm not supposed to say in my personal life, or how was that experience?
100%. It's the weirdest. You walk into this house and it's so strange how normal it becomes. I
Mhm.
remember, I think it was day 2, I actually walked into one of the cameras, like fully like walked right into it because you just
Yeah.
forget that they're there. And I think anybody who does the show, every single person I swear who has ever done Big Brother is probably like, oh my God, I should not have said that on camera. Every single person, like you just, because you forget that people are watching you, you know, it's weird how normal it becomes.
That's crazy. And it's changed over the years. So when it started, like in America, they didn't have live feeds, I don't believe, or you maybe had to pay, but it's more accessible now, like everything on YouTube and everything. But it's crazy because it's out there. But yeah.
Yeah. And I think everybody goes through that, but I think it's good too. Like it kind of like shines a light on certain things, and it just helps you. The whole experience is such a gift. And if you don't learn and grow from it, then you miss the whole point.
Yeah.
You know, so even if things are challenging, you know, everybody screws up or messes up. When you do it in front of more people, it's a little bit more damaging, but I think it makes you a better person in the end run. So
yeah, I like that you said that. And I just have to let you know, I was rooting for you. I was rooting for Tyshawn, but I was rooting for you every day. I was like watching with my daughter, my wife. I was like, Tera. And then I was so upset when you got out, but then you get this whole battle back opportunity. So just quickly touch on that. How was that feeling, that experience when you found out you had a second chance? And then you know what you did with Jed said. I would like explain that feeling.
So it's such a weird, the game. I just had a feeling when I was sitting on that couch next to Beth, I'm like, they're going to double cross me. I'm going home. Yeah. And I almost like, I mentally prepared for it. I didn't even give any of them a hug because you get pissed, right? You're like, I can't, we just worked together so good. And you guys just screwed me over. I was so mad. Yeah. But I almost like, I had peace with it. I was like, you know what, whatever. I'm going to go out. I'm going to meet Arissa. I'm going to go to the jury house. I'm going to see my girls. It's going to be fine. And then you walk out and you see this sign and you're like, oh my God, I might have to go back. Like that, it was so stressful. And then to walk back and be like, okay, and now I have to compete against Jed, who the only reason why I was so adamant about getting Jed out is because he is, if you've never met him in real life, he actually looks like a Marvel superhero. Like he is a specimen, and he is so smart. He's so athletic. He's good at everything. So the only reason why I want to get him out, because I'm like, who's going to beat him? You know, he's just such a huge competitor and so charismatic. So to be going up against somebody like Jed, I was surprised that I beat, like, I know that I shocked Canada by pulling it out, but I was just as shocked. I remember when I walked in and I told him everything too, because I didn't think that I stood a chance. I was like, he's going back, but if he's going back, I want him to win, you know? I want to tell him everything. I want him playing for himself, because I felt bad. I just did him really dirty.
I like the spirit of competition, but I always root for the underdog. So I might not like someone, but then when everyone's ganging up on them, I start being on their side and stuff like that. That's why. But in your case, I always liked you. And what bothered me, and I got to tell you, that, I don't know, you have to run to the house and get the balls and then put them in other competitors. And people were like ganging up, right? Tyshawn and all them were ganging up. And then you had a little spat with Kiefer, I believe, right? But emotions are real, right, in there at the time.
And it was funny. I was having like a little freak out, and it was funny because it wasn't even at Kiefer. Kiefer wasn't playing, but he was just there, and I was just venting. So then we started beaking, and I think too, especially initially on, I don't think a lot of people, I'm a very fiery person, but you have to conceal a lot initially. So I think that was like one of those moments where I was like, oh, my temper's coming out. I was so mad.
I was mad for you on this side too. I really
it's
felt
just hard too, because when you go and compete in something, it's really hard to want to try when you feel like you don't even have a chance. Like if you're starting so far behind, you're like, well, whatever. And then it's funny because I'm like, guys, like, I'm the older mom in the house. I'm this big. Like, what are you? And I was so mad because I'm like, look at these two guys. Like, they're going to beat you in every competition. I don't know what you're coming after me for. So I lost it a little bit.
But that's what made the battle back even sweeter at that time. Okay, so now you get voted out. You're on stage with Arissa now, right? But
no, I didn't see her. Oh, yes, at the very end.
At the end,
Yes, yeah.
So now there's social distancing, but you're on stage. How did that feel being out of the house now, finally? And
it's almost like a sigh of relief. You know, like, obviously, was I disappointed? Would I have wanted to be in the final two? Did I want to win 100%? But I think anytime you do something incredible, there's so much. I was so proud of myself. And even sometimes it's not about like what you win, right? It's like, what do you get from the experience? And, you know, I was really happy with the final two that we had. I thought that was a cool historical moment in itself. So I feel like everything worked out just as it was supposed to. And it was cool. And it was amazing to see Arissa. I was so nervous. I sat, because I'm so small, guys. Yeah. I sat on this little swivel chair, and because my feet are so small, I literally just turned all the way around. I was like, did you guys get that? Arissa was dying. She's like, not you, just like swiveling right around.
Yeah. Okay. The question I have to ask now is, would you do it again?
Yes.
You would, eh?
I would. So I remember as soon as we got out of the house, because it's traumatizing when you first leave, because there's just so much to adjust to. And I remember we did an interview. All of the post interviews, they were like, would you go back? And I was like, no. And now I'm like, yes, I would go back.
Yeah.
It's like having a baby. Like, you forget how terrible the delivery was. You're like, I would do that again.
Yeah.
So I would, if they ask, and I think it's just, if they ask you to come back, that's such a huge honor. Like,
oh yeah,
Big Brother can ask me to do anything for the rest of time, and I will do whatever Big Brother asks of me.
Amazing. Yeah.
It's just an honor. Yeah.
Yeah. And now how did you acclimate yourself back into your day-to-day grind now? So you're at home, your husband, your two kids. How is that feeling mental health wise too? Did you have to decompress and take time off, or you go right back into it?
No. Well, and so when the show was finished, we were in another lockdown.
Oh.
So I think that might have even been a little bit of a blessing, although it would have been so much fun to see all of my people like have like a big party and a big celebration, because you don't know what people are thinking, but it was kind of nice to just really decompress. And it takes a long time, especially when you're not used to being in a spotlight like that, or, you know, of course, everybody gets good feedback, but you get negative feedback, and there's like a lot of learning, and it was really challenging, but, you know, you just rely on the people that are really close to you, the ones who know you before and after. But it definitely, it took months to feel, months just to like get back into that groove. Okay, what was life like before? Let's go back. But I mean, being a mom too, like, you got kids, I got to take care of them.
You got it. Yeah.
I'll never forget though, my first night home, like we all, like me, my husband, my two kids, and my dog all slept in the same bed.
Oh, nice.
Like we all just like cuddled in. We miss each other so much. So
great. That's great.
Yeah.
Okay, now you were exposed to Canada, the world. So things change now. So Instagram, other BB Canada, like BB 1 to 8, and also in the States. How was that feeling? People reach out to you?
Yes. And it still blows my mind anytime I get a message, because I'll still randomly get messages like, oh my God, I just watched your season. I loved it. It's so cool. It is. It's just, especially when you connect with other people who've been on the show, and you're just like, oh my God, I was obsessed with you. Like, I remember getting out of the house and messaging back and forth with Ika Wong, and literally like losing my mind, like being like, Ryan, it's Ika. Like, Ryan, I don't think you know how big of a deal this is. So it's really cool. And then, it just opens up, you know, I've talked a lot with the last, the contestants from BB, the last US cast, they're all amazing. So it really does. It connects you to all these people. And the thing that I love the most about it is everybody's so different. You know, like they purposely pick, they don't want the same types of people in every season. So it's really cool. It's a really cool element.
Yeah. And you're part of the Big Brother family now. So
wild.
It's amazing. Yeah.
I can hashtag BBCan fam, and it's a real thing.
Yeah.
I'm actually in it.
So true. I love your energy and your spirit. So
thank you.
I know what you said in the beginning. So I had a question to ask now, but I want to see if you can expand on that. Okay. So, you know, a lot of people talk about positive affirmation. They talk about living their best life and going for their dreams. But I feel like you're in that space right now. Can you expand on that? Because it also plays into the podcast now that you started.
Yes. So before Big Brother and before everything, like I said earlier, I was just a mom on the hamster wheel. And I think especially as we get a little bit older in life, it's very easy to forget about your dreams and the things that you want. And you just get stuck into this, like, work, pay bills, do this, do this. And I was getting to this point where I wasn't feeling good. I knew it deep in, I'm not living my best life.
Yeah.
I'm not, I love my life. I love my kids and my husband and my family, but is this my best life? No. So it really takes stepping out of your comfort zone, digging deep, doing things that make you extremely uncomfortable. But you get to this point where I've never felt better. I've never been happier. And I just want to share it with people because I know what it's like to be on that other end where you think, well, maybe it is too late for me. Maybe I am too old, or I could never do that at my age. And it's like, yeah, why not? Why can't you? We've got, as far as we know, we've got one shot here, right? Yeah. And why can't you be making the most of your life and living with more purpose, more intention? And yeah, it's kind of become my mission now to help other people.
Wow. I'm telling you, you're doing a good job.
Thank you.
You got me backing you all the time. You see me, I'm reading your thing and responding.
I love it. I love it.
Amazing. So now tell me about your podcast. So I guess like me, I wanted to start. I like talking to people. I also do it too for donations. So I donate to charities.
Oh, amazing.
But the main thing is I want people to hear other people's stories.
Yes.
So why did you start your podcast? And that day where you just decide to do it? I don't know if you're saying like me, because I just woke up one day. I told my wife I want to start a podcast. Yeah. And then I just started buying the lighting and stuff and just thinking it out, planning it out.
Yeah, you got to learn as you go. Yeah. And I think for anybody who wants to do something new or, dive into something, it's okay to suck at the beginning, right? Yeah. If you go back to some of the most talented, successful people, if you go back to their first reel or their first take or their first anything, everybody starts. So I think that's the main thing. And I wanted to start this podcast. I did take a course because I don't do the videos. Okay. I do they're only audio. And I had to learn, obviously, the different software, how to set up an RSS feed, how to connect it to iTunes, or Apple Music, all of these things. Right. So I did end up taking a course through Jenna Kutcher, who's amazing. She's social media, tech, marketing, wonderful. And then I just bought the equipment and I'm just diving in. So it's very new, but I am determined to hopefully help. It's not even about how many people listen or what I'm going to do with it. If it impacts a handful of people to go after their dreams, they feel better about themselves, then that's it.
Amazing.
So the podcast will be a mixture of sometimes it will just be me, but I will also, I love sharing other people's stories, especially people who maybe have come further along, but you don't know where they started.
Right.
And going back to the beginning, because everybody starts from the same place and everybody has a journey. And I want I don't only want it to be just moms or, suburban moms and their minivans, I want people I Tashawn is going to come on and be a guest. I want to talk to him about men's mental health and why that's so important for him now and what he does in that aspect, or Julie Vu and how the transition that she made, literally becoming a completely different person. You look at Julie Vu now and she's just she's the most beautiful, but she worked very hard to get where she is. I want to show people the underbelly of what makes people who they are. So I'm really excited about it. But again, I have no idea what I'm doing.
No,
I'm just winging it.
It's part of the process. It's part of the process. And I started listening to the first episode. Yeah. And then I stopped because I wanted to say something for the podcast. I wanted to get your thought process and everything. So you explained it well. Thank you for that. And make sure you have it available at other platforms.
Yes, so I'm pretty sure it's Apple and Spotify right now. Yeah, I gotta learn all the things. Yeah. I don't know how Spotify, but somebody shared it with a link because you set up all these RSS feeds and they connect. Yeah, I'm learning.
Yeah, you know what? When I started, my main thing, it's a podcast, but I want it on so people can view it too. So it's on YouTube. But I found Anchor. So
Yes, I've
Anchor,
heard.
the streaming platform, and then the RSS feed, and then it's everywhere. Amazon Music, and I don't have to upload it over there. The RSS feed does everything.
Yes,
But
it's cool stuff, but
yeah.
when you're a little bit older and you're not, we were talking about VHS.
Oh man.
We're like, look at us. We went from VHS to RSS.
Oh wait, yes.
We didn't even skip a beat. We got it.
So since we're on that, before we started recording, let the people know, because I said I can spot talent and you're very funny. So I asked you if you would ever do stand-up. Share the story that you shared with me.
So I actually did a stand-up comedy routine when I was 8 months pregnant.
Yes.
And I've had a bucket list. I feel like everybody should have a bucket list and you should change it all the time, you know?
Yeah.
Throw things off, check them off, make something new. And for some reason, I always wanted to do a stand-up comedy routine. After being pregnant with my son, by the time I was pregnant with my daughter, I was like, oh no, I've got jokes.
Yeah.
But I wanted to be super, like, very visibly. And it was funny. It was raunchy too.
Amazing.
Put earmuffs on my baby inside.
Okay. Tera, now what I usually do is ask my guest to give some words of inspiration to someone that may be on that brink of giving up on their dream. And by hearing this from, you know, someone in the know, like, sorry, not in the know, but you're on TV. Mm-hmm. It doesn't matter if you're on TV though, but if you're in a career, you're an entrepreneur, I like to ask, can you give some words of inspiration for someone that's ready to quit?
Okay, so I forget where I heard this, but this is an analogy that I use all the time when I want to throw in the towel. And it's called the front porch analogy or something like that. I forget who came up with it, but it's really, really good. Stay with me. So I want you to picture yourself, you know, say like 80 to 90 years old. You're sitting on your front porch. You're sitting in that rocker. You're looking back at your life and you're at this moment right now where you're deciding if you want to give up. Mm-hmm. Your 80 or 90-year-old self, what are you going to regret more? Giving up or trying again? And I think it's just so powerful to think, because whenever you read articles of people later in life, like the things that they say that they regret the most, you know, like not going after their dreams, not saying how they felt, you know, not pursuing their passions, not taking better care of themselves. So picture, you know, like an older version of yourself, what will you regret more? Quitting and wondering what could have happened, or going for it and seeing what happens? Wow.
Powerful.
And my goosebumps have goosebumps. I remember somebody told me that. Now I'm always like, 80-year-old Tera is going for it.
Amazing. Amazing.
I'm going to be so little. I'm going to be the littlest 80-year-old person ever and fit in a pocket. But she did some cool shit. She did.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Okay, we come to the point now in the interview. I have two. Sorry, hold on.
It's like, I'm back.
Oh, Tera. Okay, we come to the point in the interview. I have two cards in my hand.
Ooh. And
by my hand, you're going to tell me which one you want me to read.
Okay.
Right or left?
Righty tighty.
Name one challenging thing you had to overcome in life.
Oh my God, where do I start? There's so many challenges. I think life is always going to give you challenge, any stage, even at your highest moments. I could literally give a list of 50. So you just like want one. I literally don't know which one to pick. Name one challenging moment in life that you had to overcome. So I actually, on my podcast, I talk about it a lot. I talk about grief. I lost my brother 15 years ago. And I feel like that one is a very pinnacle moment in my life, where almost, you know, that moment where they say like your loss of innocence. Like when you go from like being like a kid to like, oh no, like this is life, things can be really hard. And I would probably say going through that experience, just going through, you know, losing a best friend, losing them at such a young age, not having any clue of what to do, making a lot of mistakes, maybe grieving in ways that weren't healthy. So it's not even like, oh, like one challenge, like overnight, like I'm talking like over years, coming to terms with dealing with that loss and how I could take that loss and have it make me a better person, I would say. And that has probably changed trajectorily changed so much in my life, because now once you get this like clarity and this peace with that loss, it gives you so much strength. And now everything I do is on purpose, and I do it because of him, for him, you know?
Wow.
So that would for sure, that's like obviously, but many challenges. That's the biggest one though.
Right. Thanks for sharing that. Okay. Now, as you know, I'm doing this for charity.
Yes.
So, Tera, I have 3 balloons in my hand. And again, by my hands, you tell me which one you want me to pop.
Okay.
For season 3, the 3 charities are Claws, it's Kawartha Lakes Animal Wellness Society. I have someone coming on representing them.
Love that.
They help stray abandoned dogs.
I love most dogs more than people.
Oh, yes, yes.
I'm a dog person. Animals in general, I just love them, yeah.
Oh, yeah, me too. Autism Ontario and CAMH, Center for Addiction and Mental Health.
Ooh, those are all so good.
By my hands.
Okay. I'm going to go with the single one because 1 is my number. So let's go with 1.
Right. The 6th charity Star Scorpio is donating to is, oh my gosh.
Oh, I love that. Good.
Autism Ontario.
Yes.
And you have a big fan. Yeah, you have a big fan in my my good friend Nadine in Niagara Falls.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, and her son Sawyer is on the spectrum.
Oh my God. Well, Sawyer, hold on. Sawyer, I love you.
Oh.
Thank you, Sawyer, for being a big fan of me. I'm sending you good vibes, babe.
Oh, thanks for that shout out.
Yes, amazing. Absolutely.
Okay, Tera, so where can people find you? Let us know. IG, Facebook, let us know about the podcast.
So definitely on Instagram. I'm not super social media savvy yet, and that's the main platform that I use. You can find me at Tera Gillen. It's TeraGillen, and that's where I share everything about my podcast. And I also have daily doses of positivity for you.
Sweet. Thanks for that. All right, Tera. This is season 3, episode 6. Thank you for coming out, and we out.